Welcome to Old Testament 102. As we came to the conclusion of Old Testament 101, we came to the end of the historical period that is recorded in the Old Testament. And at the conclusion of that historical period, we saw how God had judged both the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah because they had pretty much rejected him and rejected his leadership, rejected the message of the prophets that was intended to call them to repentance. And so we saw the Assyrians destroy the northern kingdom of Israel in 722 BC, and then we saw the Babylonians take the southern kingdom of Judah into captivity in 586-87 BC. And that brought us to the end of the historical period. Now, as we move into the poetical books and then the books of prophecy, we will hear a lot about that historical period. So a lot of it will go back in time, and you'll seem to be going back and forth from one historical period to another historical period, especially as we get into the prophets, because some of the prophets are pre-exilic and others are during the exile, and then others are post-exilic. And so we'll have to learn the exact time frame in which they prophesied in order to understand the significance of their message. But before we get to the books of prophecy, we will cover the books of poetry. And poetry is a very important means of communicating in Old Testament literature. And as we get into the poetic books, we will see that they are very, very interesting in the message that they present, but they're also very interesting in the way that they present the message. And so we'll look at those as we get into the poetic books. So as we get into Old Testament 102, as I said, we will continue where we left off in 101. We'll pick up with the books of poetry. There are 5 books of poetry, and then there are 17 books of prophecy. 5 of those are referred to as major prophets, and 12 are referred to as minor prophets. And as we get into those books, we'll learn the difference between the major and the minor, and we'll see the distinctions in their messages and the distinctiveness of the message to the people to whom they were writing in the time period in which they wrote. So these are very, very important books, and I know that everyone is always interested in studying prophecy and the message of the prophets, so we will look forward to getting to that in just a few weeks. But as we get into Old Testament 102, we will begin with the books of poetry. And these are very, very important books, and I encourage you to take your time to study them, to read them, and to get as much out of them as you possibly can. And hopefully after our study of these books of poetry, you will have a better understanding of how the poets wrote in the way that they wrote, and for the reasons that they used poetry in getting their message across. So I'm really looking forward to sharing these next 10 weeks with you. I'm excited about continuing our study as we move from 101 into 102. We're going to change things up a bit as we move in. Your assignments are going to be a little bit different, and I hope that you will continue to get a lot out of the assignments and the things that you have to do in order to complete the course. And I'm looking forward to sharing with you. And again, as I said at the conclusion of every video presentation, anytime you have any questions, please send me a message. You can do it through Moodle, or you can do it through my personal email, or you can give me a personal telephone call if there's a question you'd like to talk with me personally about. And I will look forward to listening to you and responding to you as best I can. And again, I'm so much looking forward to our time together in Old Testament 102. God bless you as you begin this journey.